I believe, unknowingly spoke to the suspect. Is that correct, JoJo?
Yes, you have your facts correct. At the time when he entered the building, we were experiencing things in real time as they were unfolding. And so the security guard who let him in, it was her impression, the event was wrapping up, it was her impression that he was a victim and an innocent bystander to this attack. And being the well-meaning group that we are, we all thought that was the case. And I actually offered him, gave him water, unbeknownst to me that I was looking evil in the eye, and that he was the murderer who killed these two, Sarah and Yaron. May their memory be a blessing, and my heart and condolences goes out to their family.
Wow. So sorry, that was after the killing. If you don't mind, JoJo. I was just going to say, take us back, if you don't mind, and I understand if you'd rather not. Please just say so. To the moment it all unfolded.
So to start, this event was an annual Young Diplomats event, which I serve on the AJC Young Professional Board. And we picked a theme this year of turning pain into purpose. It was actually focused on bringing young professionals, Jewish and non-Jewish alike. 30 different embassies were represented, some representatives from the State Department. And essentially, we were gathered to talk about bridge building and a coalition of organizations for the MENA region. So that's the Middle East and North African region, who are working together. Trust is a rare commodity in the Middle East, and they have formed trust across various regions and backgrounds to get humanitarian aid into Gaza. And that is, these organizations are speaking off the record, but we were hearing from them directly. So it's painfully ironic that at a time when we were speaking about bridge building, that someone came in with such hate and destruction. We were wanting to counter the us versus them narrative and come together in humanity and shared humanity. So I actually myself, the event was wrapping up, I made my way to the third floor. On my way down is when the shooting occurred. I did not hear the shots. And when I arrived in the lobby, there was commotion and a frenzy. But at that time, no one was aware of lives lost. The gunshots were heard, so security started locking the doors. And that is when I saw whom I now know is the perpetrator, the murderer of this Israeli Jewish couple. And I didn't find out till much later that he was actually the murderer. So I see him, he seems very distraught. I now understand it's because he killed two people point blank. Offered him water, he accepted. I then handed him the water, and apologies for my husband walking behind the screen. And then seconds after I've handed him the water, he whips out his keffiyeh and yells "Free Palestine," and then he's subdued by the officers on scene. I can't recall if that was DC police or museum security. And at that point, we still hadn't connected the dots. We thought maybe he shot the gun to just get into the museum. It wasn't till later we were finding out in real time from the news media as we were being sequestered to be interviewed by detectives that two people were killed, and then later found out whom they were, what embassy they worked for. And I just feel my heart just goes out again to these victims' families. And I'm not a lot for words.
Did you know Sarah and Yaron?
I did not. No, I did not personally know them, and I didn't speak to them at this evening's event. But I have heard from my friend who's an editor at Jewish Insider that they were due to be engaged. She had just purchased a ring. They were going to get engaged in Jerusalem. And young couples on the cusp of love and building a life and bridging two families together. And such destruction is just not only destroyed their lives, but all of their family members' lives.
Mm. And it must have shocked and deeply affected all those in attendance at this event that you organised tonight, and you as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely all still processing, and I think that what motivates me to come and share my testimony and speak as a witness to this unspeakable, unfathomable, targeted Jew hate and hate crime and active anti-Semitism is that if those of us who experience this event can continue to find our humanity, this event we were gathering in the name of humanity and in the name of bridge building and turning pain into purpose. And I just want to continue to amplify those themes, and that he's not representative of every single Palestinian, and Palestinians and Israelis alike deserve self-determination, deserve to live in peace. Diaspora Jews deserve to be able to gather, and non-Jews alike, peacefully at a Jewish museum. And the fact that it's just unthinkable. I still haven't think I've fully embodied what I experienced this evening, but regardless of what I experienced, 2 people have lost their lives and their families are just getting the news. And that's what I want to continue to echo is 2 people murdered in cold blood, execution style. And it's unspeakable, unthinkable, and at the end also just so deeply ironic that we were discussing humanitarian aid into Gaza. Of all things, we were working to counter the us versus them narrative. And so, go ahead.
Does it make you reticent to gather again, for example, at a Jewish museum for an event like this, or not?
I don't want to let the terrorists win, and I don't want to let sociopath or psychopath. I don't want to be an armchair psychiatrist here, but clearly anyone who has that capacity to kill is deeply, deeply unwell. I will say my first thought, ironically, wasn't, oh, guns are fired. We're at a very Jewish event, at a very Jewish venue, sponsored by a very Jewish organization. I didn't immediately think, oh, this is a hate crime. I was like, DC violence. And so I think I will be more hyper vigilant, but I will not be deterred to gather in Jewish spaces, but I will ask more questions around security. And I know that they recently received a grant, the Capitol Jewish Museum did, to up their security. And this is exactly why. And it's a sad world we live in, that we can't just gather peacefully, Jews, non-Jews alike, in a Jewish space without being under the threat of death and violence. But no, I won't be deterred. I'll just be more hypervigilant. And being too deterred would just be letting terrorists win, and we're not going to let hate win.